All right. It is 4 minutes after the hour. Where am I at? I'm right here. And we're going to make some very huge wholesale changes. And I'm going to say some things to open the show. Some of it y'all are going to like, some of it you're not. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. It's just time to make some serious changes so this show and this network within can make some serious money. That has always been my goal. It will remain my number one goal. My 1A goal is to use this to support not only the people that are with me, but to support my family. Now, let's go.
Can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up?
Good morning! Snowman here to all you Brock Purdy and San Francisco 49er haters. Shut up! I gotta thank you, Shane.
I mean, whatever happened to the games where breaking 100 points was, I don't know, unusual?
There was one word to sum up the All-Star weekend.
Trays. Cause we take this job so serious.
Splash Brothers, yes. Ray Allen, replace him with Steve Kerr. Reggie Miller, yeah.
What in the all types of blue hell?
Oh yeah! Let's get this party started. Good morning. Welcome to the Twisted Tripped Out Thursday edition of Snowman in the Morning. Glad to have you all with us. Snowman flying solo for the most part, but I got Chris Dietz on the way at the bottom of this hour, and I got Alison Mic Drop Moran at the bottom of the next hour. All right. I'm going to spend, if y'all will allow me, about 3 to 4 minutes. This day, January 30th, 2025, will mark the end of a few things and the implementation of some other things. Let me just start by opening and saying it out loud. There are going to be a lot of changes. And as I said during the cold opening, some of it you're going to like, some of it you're not. But I have to put my crew and my family ahead of any and everything else. And I had a person come to me yesterday and ask me a question. He said, "Are you making money off of this yet?" I said, "Not yet." And I'm glad I said not yet, because a couple people came to me and said, "You know what? I'm giving up this podcasting thing. There's no growth in it." Bullshit. There is growth in it. You just have to find it and trust the right people. And I'm going to be very, very raw for the first few minutes of the show today. So y'all are just going to have to forgive me. Some of the changes involve where we stream this show, because there were quite a few networks, a couple that I've kept, that had a bigger benefit than I did. And I'm one of the main producers of the show. That stops. There are some people that came into the Fanatics feedback zone wondering, what am I doing with my life? That stops. There are some people that promised me personally that they would help grow my show and my channel. Give me this button here. I got to pay some honor to I got to pay some honor to BGS. Okay? As I opened the show, I had a couple friends say to me, and they said it out loud, that they were giving up podcasting, they were giving up hosting the sports show because they didn't find any value in it. BGS?
Now that's some bullshit.
And there were some people that came to me and said, you know, I can help you promote your page. BGS, one more time.
Now that's some bullshit.
And that's that. The other changes I will keep to myself, but I just had to speak those aloud and just make everybody aware that I'm going back old school. I'm getting caffeine out of my system once and for all, because as I found out this morning, it led to a very sharp drop in my energy, and it led to a very quick fight with depression. I'll speak about that on my afternoon show. Anything that doesn't benefit myself, my crew, my family, or Snowman Multimedia or Snowman Sportsnet, you are one of the changes. To all the, I didn't start that right. To all the people that are still watching this show and still rocking with me, still rocking with the big dog and the droid and Vicala and Dr. K and everybody else that's involved with this show and with this company, I thank you. To those who are not, because you have been eliminated and been kicked off this bandwagon, you were one of the changes. And that's that. Let's take a break. When we get back, I have a few things to say about why Roger Craig should be in the Hall of Fame, but unfortunately will never be. And yes, there are going to be some cuss words involved. Back in the deuce.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
People tell me how lucky my daughter is to have been adopted. But really, we're the lucky ones. Learn more at adoptuskids.org.
This planet has been great to me. It's given me gifts that I can't even explain. It's given me adventures and memories I'll never forget. And Battleborn, I think, has given me the opportunity to go beyond and give something back. How can I be a better custodian to this planet and the place I live? That's where I am with Battleborn. Let's make the planet a better place.
Whether it's news, the largest egg producer finds bird flu in chickens at a Texas plant, weather, devastating tornadoes rip through the heart of the United States, inspiration, a breast cancer survivor completed the journey of chemotherapy and now begins a future one of matrimony or sports. Michael Jordan is shown on a photo with Diddy. LeBron James has a video extolling the virtues of a Diddy party. This has been yet another beating a dead horse presentation. We got you covered. BS3 Network, in association with Comey Media Incorporated, proudly present The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson. Live every weekday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like Boomstick Lady. No free throw is safe from the roar of her sticks. SeatGeek helps her find a seat in the direct eye line of the shooter so she can sit where her boomsticks make the biggest boom. Everybody okay? SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze car.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crayon they get, they palm it and do 2 circles, and that translates to, I can beat up black people.
As she takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific Time Zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Oh, I'm sorry. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Another thing I'm going to do is reset a project that's very dear to me. It's called Diary of a Mad Snowman. It's an audiobook that's going to turn into an actual book. And someone very, very dear to me, Mr. James McCallum, who's been my friend for over 40 years, is going to put the chapters in order. He's going to put the subjects in order. And I'm going to get back to recording. Another thing I'm going to pursue is doing voice work. So all that I'll talk about a little bit later on in the I'll talk about that a little bit later on in the afternoon. Now it is 17 after the hour. That's another thing I'm doing. I'm going back old school with it. That means breaks at the top of the bottom of the hour will require an ID, because I'm running this on my radio station and my internet radio station and internet radio network. And anyone that wants to pick it up, be it television or audio or whatever, there's a fee attached to it. All right, down to business. Roger Craig is not in the Hall of Fame, and it's bullshit. Let's talk about it, shall we? Roger Craig is not in the Hall of Fame, which is stupid to me. Man, give me this button. I'm going to wear this button out, but I don't care. Give me this button. Roger Craig not in the Hall of Fame.
Now that's some bullshit.
It is bullshit. It's stupid. He was the first running back in NFL history with 1,000 season. The year was 1985, and he achieved said season against the Dallas Cowboys. All right? And he doesn't have a gold jacket for that. I'll tell you the exact play why he doesn't have a gold jacket for that. The year was 1991, January 13th, 1991. The scene was Candlestick Park. A fumble in an attempt to seal the game. The Niners were leading 13-12 against the New York Football Giants. And this is one of the most fabulous championship games I've ever seen because it was hard hitting from the beginning. Lawrence Taylor knocked the ball out, recovered it. The Giants drove it down, wore out the clock. Matt Barr, whom I playfully hate forever, kicked the game-winning field goal as time expired. Giants win 15-13 and stop San Francisco from even an attempt at a three-peat. Because of that play, in my opinion, Roger Craig will never see the Hall of Fame. And it's stupid. It's stupid. You're going to honor Marshall Faulk, who was tremendous. Don't get it twisted. Marshall Faulk was tremendous. You're going to honor Marshall Faulk with a gold jacket because he repeated the same feat and won less Super Bowls, by the way. Roger Craig has 3 titles. Marshall only has 1. And that came with the greatest show on turf in the St. Louis Rams in 1999. You're going to waste what Roger Craig did, what he meant to the 49ers and that 49er offense. And don't get it. Dang nabbit. Don't get it twisted. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Don't get it twisted. I know there was Montana, there was Jerry Rice, there was John Taylor, there was Brent Jones, there was Tom Rathman, there was who else? Who was before Roger Craig? There was Wendell Tyler. All right, there was that offensive line, there was the defense, Ronnie Lott, Charles Haley. I get all of that. But if you're going to honor all of those guys, why don't you honor the guy that was the most integral part to the offense? That was Roger Craig. Anybody who has done any kind of studying whatsoever, will realize that Roger Craig meant a whole lot to that San Francisco offense. Why? Because if you look at the way that the West Coast offense should be run, and the West Coast offense was developed by the godfather of the West Coast offense, the late, great Mr. Bill Walsh, it's predicated on a running attack. The Niners had a good running attack. Roger Craig made it great. And, oh, by the way, 1988, he was the Offensive Player of the Year. And you're still, and to the Pro Football Committee, even with the senior pro football, you're still not going to honor Roger Craig? Really? What is it? I want to know, what is it that has you voters, senior committee, whatever committee, all in a tiff about keeping the man who invented the 1,000 season out of the Hall of Fame? What the hell is up with that? Whatever reason you have for keeping Roger Craig out of the Hall of Fame is stupid, and you need to get the fuck over it. Yeah, I know I'm cussing. This is the last show I'm doing that too, because like I said, bringing on a lot of changes. But back to business. Whatever reason you have for keeping Roger Craig out of the Hall of Fame is a stupid fucking reason, and you need to quit it. As my wife often says to me, when I get inside my own head, quit that shit. Oh, you want a real? I will show you a play by Roger Craig that should merit him Hall of Fame status alone. Let's go to Anaheim Stadium in 1988, week number 7.
And it gives those guys a little extra weight. Roger Craig still on his feet, still running. What a run by Roger Craig. You'll never see a better one than that. From 46 yards. That's going to be in a lot of highlights for a long time. What an effort by Roger Craig.
Listen, whenever people talk about who are my 5 greatest running backs, I always include Roger Craig in the bunch. Even with Barry Sanders and Walter Payton and Emmitt Smith, and who are some of the other greats at the time? Thurman Thomas, right? I think I mentioned him. Barry Sanders, John Riggins, all the old school backs. All of the old school backs. Now, there are some running backs that have more numbers than Roger Craig. There are some backs that have the same number of Super Bowls as Roger Craig, because Roger Craig has 3 of them. But remember, 2 achievements in the Super Bowl. First of all, Roger Craig was the first to score 3 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. January 20th, 1985, Super Bowl 19. Okay? And the second thing, Super Bowl 23, his running may not have been great, but he caught 9 passes for 101 yards. And the only way he was overshadowed because Jerry Rice caught 11 for 215 and a touchdown. But Roger Craig was integral in that final drive where Montana not only hit Jerry Rice for a 27-yard gain, he hit Roger Craig for a 9-yard gain to get him down to the 10. They take a timeout. They come back. Montana hits Taylor in the end zone for a 10-yard pass, which was Taylor's only catch of the game. But I find it hard to believe that Roger Craig is not in the Hall of Fame. And from the looks of it, he will never see the Hall of Fame. And that's a fucking shame. That's a shame. That's a shame, and that's stupid. Matter of fact, give me this button over here. Speaking of stupid, this is how I feel about them keeping Roger Craig out of the Hall of Fame.
So I realize that I think, even though it's not advertised,
right,
there has to be a place for stupid people. We don't know because we're not stupid, so we don't know anything about it. It's like a secret club society.
Oh my gosh.
So I come to the conclusion that he graduated from SU, stupid university. Yeah, all the stupid ass letters that go along with graduating high honors of being stupid. I can't do no more, man.
Vámonos, dominos, vámonos. Stupid university, where everyone graduates magna cum stupid.
That's how I feel about the voters and the senior committee keeping Roger Craig out of the Hall of Fame. That's how I feel. And until that changes, I don't care how many times I get invited to the Hall of Fame ceremony to Canton, Ohio. I may pay the Hall of Fame a visit as a fan. But as a media member, until you elect Roger Craig, you won't see me. Period. That's Snowman's take. What is yours? All right. Coming up after the break. Oh, no, not that. I'll try again. Coming up after the break. Damn it, quit pressing the wrong button. They're doing that just to mess with me. Y'all realize that. They're doing that just to pick on me. Well, why don't I'll just bring him in after the break. Chris Dietz is next when y'all get back.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Are you ready to upgrade your coffee game? Prepare for an invasion of flavor with Invader Coffee. It's the caffeinated elixir that fuels champions, the blend that pushes boundaries. Whether you're battling deadlines or exploring uncharted territories, Invader Coffee has your back. Join the invasion at invadercoffee.com and taste the difference for yourself. Use the code Snowman for 15% off your first order. Invader Coffee, veteran owned.
One of the great things about ordering meals from Mother of Macros is that you can do it from the comfort of your own home. Click the national or local delivery link to access the menu, and we'll ship the meals right to your door. We understand you won't always have time to plan, shop, prepare, and cook to provide healthy nutrition for your family. So the process is simple and saves you hours. We know you're busy, so our meals are professionally prepared and packaged. You only need to heat them up and enjoy. We provide macro-balanced, delicious meals chock full of fresh, local ingredients with none of the stuff you don't want to eat. Plus, our menu changes every week, keeping your taste buds wanting more. We take care of your meals so you can worry about everything else on your list. Mother of Macros.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the high five strangers got. Game-winning interception. First down. Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
Quinn.
Moment of clarity. I haven't watched BET in years.
KP.
Drake needs to come back with another triple platinum album.
E Digger.
And then you have Ray J. Like, I can't stand that River Cricket.
The Guru.
Okay, the level of crack she's smoking, I don't want it.
BS3 Network proudly presents the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast, where from card tips to hot topics to meep of the week, anything goes. Live every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Central.
During bad weather, driving can become downright dangerous.
What's your emergency, please?
Trust Battle Vision Storm, the revolutionary glare reduction glasses that turn your sight bright during bad weather at night or during the day. Watch your ordinary vision become extraordinary. Battle Vision Storm uses light optimizing lenses that block blue rays, so you see clearly in heavy rain at night or blinding snow during the day. Heavy rain, snow, sleet, or fog can make it impossible to drive. Not with Battle Vision Storm. Get your Battle Vision Storm for only $19.99. But wait, due to rising costs and supply chain shortages, this may be your last chance to get your very own at this low price. There is a strict limit of 4 Battle Vision Storm per order while supplies last. Don't wait, order now.
Call 1-800-483-6319 or visit battlevisionstorm.com. So call 1-800-483-6319 now.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
All right, let's do this shit.
Passionate.
Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
Unflinching.
Let's go back to losing. Parking was easier.
Unrelenting.
They're not going to keep him off the field tonight.
Totally.
This one has a chance.
Dietz.
That's not just a murmur, that's a full-blown fibrillation.
Let's chop him down with Chris Dietz. Dietz, how are you, man?
Hey, what's going on, Snowman?
Great to have you back. It's been a while. Just great to have you back, man.
It's been way too long, but you know, it's been a good year. It's been a year so far. I can't believe it's only the end of January so far.
Can you believe that?
So much has happened in this month that it's crazy.
It is crazy. Let's just start at the top of the mountain and start cutting it down with the side of our hand. And we start in Atlanta with the national championship game. Ohio State and Notre Dame. Did the two best teams play in that championship game, in your opinion?
The two teams that deserve to make it, they won their way there. So that's the way this was designed, and that's the way it played out. The teams that won, they won their way there. Mm-hmm. So it is what it is. But that game did not. It it didn't match what we thought a national championship should be. And
I agree with that.
It didn't match in two ways. And there's a lot of ways to look at this. So I'll give you the first. I'll give you the first one, and everybody will get on me. They'll say it's an excuse, but
man, bring it.
I'm living through it right now. I've been sick all week, so being here is as hard as I can do. So I understand Notre Dame had to go through. They played Penn State with 23 players having the flu.
Yep.
Half their team had the flu.
They did.
And then you have a week to prepare for Ohio State. And as somebody who's been trying to work through, obviously not the flu, but I've been working and sick. I don't want to work. I don't want to put in the effort. So I can imagine what it's like to go through practice through the flu. So in that aspect, you could say, I mean, think about this. If this were, I was thinking about it. I was thinking about this. If this were 2020 and half of a team had the flu, they would have canceled the game.
They would have.
They would have canceled the national championship game in the years of COVID. If they came out and said half our team has the flu, they would have canceled the game. They would have either pushed the game back, until everybody was ready, or they would have just canceled it outright. Like that's how insane it was.
And it would go in the book for not having a champion.
But that being said, that's it's an excuse. It happened. But like I said, it has to be addressed because but the bigger issue in that game, it was experience versus non-experience. And that experience was not the players, it was on the sidelines. Marcus Freeman and his staff never coached in a championship game. Ryan Day coached in a national championship game with Justin Fields.
Yep.
Was under Urban Meyer in multiple national championship games. Okay? So he has experience in how to prepare for a national championship game, how to get his guys ready, how to go.
Right.
And oh, by the way, his offensive coordinator is Chip Kelly, who's won a national championship.
Yep.
So his coaching staff has experience in getting guys ready for a national championship. And you saw that in the production on the field.
Yes.
You saw how Notre Dame came out of the gate passive. They were not. They were as non-aggressive as you could get in what they were trying to do, and they kind of just let Ohio State run the show in the first half.
Yeah, they did,
and it showed. And what happened in the second half? They came out. They put a little pressure on. They put a little pressure on Will Howard. He fumbles the ball. Notre Dame gets the ball back. They go down and score. All of a sudden, they've got all this momentum going, and you were thinking if they just came out like that out of the gate, why couldn't they just come out of the gate like this, and then we'd have ourselves a game? But I'll give a shout out because I was listening on Papa Blood's channel, and he said it when Notre Dame scored the touchdown. He said this is too little, too late.
Yeah,
by the time Notre Dame got it going, Notre Dame got it going and they got back in the game, but they were down by so much it really didn't matter at that point.
Ohio State had already put the game to bed.
And the two biggest plays came when Notre Dame had to gamble. They had to sell out, and Judkins runs for that 85-yard run.
Yep.
And then the other play, fourth down, they had to sell out. They leave Jeremiah Smith one-on-one, and you can't leave that guy. The one guy on Ohio State, you can't leave one-on-one. He's left one-on-one down the field. He catches the ball. Ohio State kicks the field goal, and they win the game.
Ball game.
I mean,
that was ball game.
So it was. But again, all it comes down to is you had an experienced guy with an unexperienced guy, and that was it. That was the game.
That was the game. I mean, Notre Dame marched down and scored the first points of the game, and all it served to do was to wake Ohio State up because they ripped off 31.
How many times did we see that? How many times did we see that? Indiana went down, scored, and everybody said, "Oh, this is going to be a ball game," and then Ohio State got off the mat and said, "All right,
unanswered.
all right, you want to see what really happens," and then they went.
And they scored 38 they scored 38 unanswered against Indiana, 31 answered against Notre Dame, and they put the game away. That was that. That was that. What got Ohio State, I believe, not just to the championship game, but the national championship itself. Texas had tied the game 7-7 in the semifinal. And all Texas had to do was make one stop. But they swing it out to Travion Henderson, and he does the rest. That was game, set, match.
Yeah,
in my opinion, that was it.
The running game, and Captain Jack. Captain Jack Sawyer in that defense.
Jack Sawyer.
You knew that was going to happen. You knew that was going to happen, but that's the thing. We knew that was going to happen with Ohio State. We knew they were going to come out. They were going to establish the running game, and they were going to running game and defense and try to throw the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And what we didn't know is that Notre Dame was just going to let them run the ball. We thought that front four would step up and they would do some things. And they never did. They never adjusted. They just stayed in their straight defense. And Ohio State ran a rough shot on them.
And Ohio State ran them over.
And again, I don't know. I can't say if that was Marcus Freeman's game plan, if that's what they were working on all week, or if they were just saying we couldn't practice all week. Like, we didn't have bodies to practice all week, so we just stayed in our base formation. Like.
Mm-hmm.
So you never know how much that affected their prep, but we'll talk about the prep later on when we talk about the actual playoff, the whole playoff as a whole. We'll talk about that preparation because there's a lot there.
Well, we may as well get into that now. Let's get into that now. Start at the top of the playoff and take it down and chop it down for me.
All right, 3 things I learned from the playoff. 3 things I learned from this. Now, remember, Snowman, you've worked with me for a long time on college football, and and eventually the NFL draft.
Mm-hmm.
What's the thing I always tell you about the first year of something? Either the first year or the first week. Hold up. We're not going to make any sweeping judgments.
Right.
We're not going to say this was the greatest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to say this was the worst disaster in the history of college football. It's the first year.
Yep.
This is the baseline. This what we're saying right now is not, hey, we need to make wholesale changes or whatever.
Right.
What we're pointing out now are the positives and the negatives, and we need to see, do the positives continue and do the negatives fix themselves?
Right.
Because again, this is the first year. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm not going to go, berserk and say blow the whole thing up and let's start from scratch. So,
like a lot of people have been saying.
Like a lot of people want to do. A lot of people are on both sides.
Blow the whole thing up. Yep.
But there are 3 things I learned from this playoff.
The first thing
is home field matters. If you notice in the first round, all the home teams won. 2, second part of that is championship games are irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
How do I know that? Because all 4 teams that got the bye lost. Every single one. So apparently none of that mattered.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the next thing I'm going to say, this is my point number 2. The second thing I learned, and I'm saying this kind of as a joke, but it's not really a joke, is everybody who said Notre Dame needs to get into a conference, y'all can shut up.
Exactly.
Y'all can shut up.
Mm-hmm.
Because they just proved they don't have to be in a conference. And not only did they prove that to me, if I'm Alabama, I'm sitting here going, we can start our own network. We can go find a network. We can get CBS to come pay us money. We can leave the SEC, have football, be a football independent, and we can go 11-1 and make the playoff every year.
Yep.
If I'm Texas, I'm thinking that. If I'm Georgia, I'm thinking that. If I'm any of these big time schools, look what just happened.
Mm-hmm.
You just had a national championship game where nobody played in a conference championship game. You don't need to be in a conference. Conferences are irrelevant.
Yep. Ohio State and Notre Dame proved it.
That's a bad thing to say, but it's just truly positive. And if you're one of these big schools, I'd be looking at that right there.
Mm-hmm.
The third thing about the playoff, and I'm just taking this as just the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
It's way too long.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about games. I'm not talking about the number of teams, the number of games is fine.
Mm.
But breaking this down, we had conference championship week the first weekend, or it was like December 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The first round wasn't played till December 20th.
Yeah.
The next games were January 1st.
December 31st and January 1st, New Year's weekend.
That's 11 day. That's an 11-day. So we had a 20-day break and 11-day break.
And an 11-day break.
Then the next games weren't played until the following Friday, because New Year's Day was on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
They waited till the following Friday, so that's another 10 days.
Another 10 days.
And then the national championship game wasn't played till 10 days later, January 20th.
So a full month.
A full month
to go from first round to championship.
And here's why that's a problem. Here's why that was a problem. And I wish Big Dog was on here with us, because he's our NASCAR guy.
Yep.
It was like watching the Daytona 500.
Mm-hmm.
And you get 10 miles in, caution flag. 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 And you're like, okay, you're like, you start and stop. There was never any momentum to anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, by the time the first round came around, I didn't even remember the championship. And these are people who follow the game.
Yeah.
Had a hard time thinking back to, what was the last game these guys played? People have a hard time remembering what happened yesterday. Okay, I mean, we talk about things that happen. Like, we talk about things that happen. And we talked about it at the beginning. It's why I brought it up. Mm-hmm. So many things have happened just in January.
Right.
That what happened a month ago got pushed. It feels like it was a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
You had, and this is not just football. You had the Sugar Bowl being played, and there's a terrorist attack.
Right.
College football was pushed to the backdrop that week, for that week. Then you're playing the next round of your playoff, and what's happening? The first round of the NFL playoffs.
Yeah.
And guess what? When you play that on a Friday, and then there's a Saturday, Sunday, Monday NFL playoffs, guess what people are talking about Monday and Tuesday? They're talking about the NFL playoffs. They're not talking about the national championship game. Especially since they're like, it doesn't happen for another week. So they push it off. So they don't talk about it. And it just you lose everything you got from the semifinal round to the championship. All of that momentum is gone by the time the game kicks off. And that was the problem. And then and I'll get into this later on, but not only that, it just killed bowl season. Bowl season was just absolutely tarnished by we got the playoffs. We got the playoffs.
Bowl season
We're not worried about all the other games that are coming up. We're only worried about what's happening Friday night.
Bowl season was completely meaningless.
It was completely just overlooked. But college football never got what it deserved because they made the mistake. They made the mistake that so many people try to do, and you can't stress this enough. You can't battle the NFL.
No.
You're never going to win that battle. I don't care. I don't care who's playing in the games.
Right.
You're never going to win the national media battle against the NFL. The NFL playoffs, there's too much on the line. There's too much betting. There's too much fantasy implications.
Mm-hmm.
There's too much, the teams that are actually in the NFL playoffs, they care. Not many, the other teams that aren't in, even if they're not in, they still go, they still support the NFL, their NFL guys.
Yeah, they do.
They're not thinking about, they don't care about, the national semifinals. They don't care about that. And I've had talks with people, and normie people don't care. They did not care about the playoffs because they're like, it's a week away. We don't have to worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
So what they need to do is tighten that schedule up. And my thing would be fit it in December.
The whole
fit
playoff
it in December and play and have your national semifinals on New Year's Day.
On New Year's Day. That would be great.
Because that way you're battling the NFL at a time when no one cares about the NFL. The only people who care about the NFL in the final weeks of December are teams who are fighting for a playoff spot, and that's it.
And remember,
there's not many of those. Most of them have them locked up by then. So
and remember,
those people don't care.
There's no Monday Night Football game in Week 18. There's no Monday Night Football in Week 18.
Right. There's no reason not to play it there. Not to play a game. Not to have one of your games there.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, you're not going to win a battle against the NFL playoff. You're never going to win that.
And
you're going to get pushed to the back, and then you throw on, like I said, you throw on all the other outside stuff when we have terrorist attacks. We had a new president sworn in. Like
you took the exact thought out of my head because they played the national championship on the same day we had a new president sworn in. You can't make this up.
You just can't. You can't battle that. You can't battle this stuff.
You can't make this up.
It just makes bad things. But that being said, that's the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
Now you've got to look at it from the other perspective, though.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked this. I asked Papa Blood about this. I'll ask you about this. I would wonder what the chat would think, and I'll ask you this question, Snowman.
All right.
And think long and hard about this one. All right. From 1 to 5, 5 being greatest season you've ever seen, 1 being 0 being completely irrelevant. Where would you rank this season of college football?
Do I have to answer that question?
I know my answer.
I can't rank it because it was so topsy-turvy. And then the turvy part being the bowl season being irrelevant, the playoff being pushed to the back burner. I cannot. What is your ranking? Because mine is pretty low, honestly.
Mine's a 2.
That's where mine is.
Mine's a 2.
That's where mine is.
And I'll tell you right now, and there are multiple reasons. There are multiple reasons for that. I mean, we've discussed the death of the Heisman, the death of the Heisman Trophy. That plays a little bit into it.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing about it is, you think about what I just asked you is, was it an interesting season? Go back and look at the games in this season.
Mm-hmm.
What was the game? Every year we usually have a game of the century.
Yeah.
Was there one this year? No. Not at all.
No.
Not at all. Did any of the games matter this year? Did any of the games played in the regular season matter this year?
No.
Or Oregon beat Ohio State. Wait,
mm-hmm.
They lost. They played again. We watched the game again in the playoff, and
Ohio State
went the other way. We watched Georgia play Texas twice.
And Georgia beat Texas twice.
We watched teams lose games in the last week of the season Didn't affect them. They still got in the playoffs. They still a team that lost their final regular season game won the national championship.
Yep, Ohio
You
State.
can't tell me that, every Saturday matters when the last Saturday they lost, they got in, and they still won the national championship.
Mm-hmm.
So what basically has happened, and again, like I said, this is year one, but it seems like all the relevance of the regular season, which was the essence of college football. The essence of college football was the most meaningful regular season of any sport.
Mm-hmm.
They've basically taken that and said, let's get, who cares? We don't want that. And you think about it, and it goes back to what I was saying about, college football was never, it was never really talked about. Even during the playoff, it was never talked about, but it was never talked about during the season.
No,
during the season, there was never you got to watch this game. This game is going to matter. This game is going to tell us who's in or who's out.
There was no real game of the week. There was no real game of the week that stood out amongst the schedule or in.
And I brought up the game of the center. I mean, how many times did we hear, during and people said about the BCS era of the BCS era was so bad. How many times did we see LSU Alabama as the game of the century?
Mm-hmm.
And it was the game of it was the game that mattered. That whoever won that game, you knew they were going on places.
Because one year it was 9-6 LSU in overtime. Another year it was a high scoring game like 43-37.
Right.
Or something of that nature. You knew that game was going to decide something later on.
But you knew the winner was going to be pole vault. You knew the winner was going to pole vault themselves up, and you knew the loser was going to be devastating. You knew the loss was going to be devastating for whoever was in that game.
Mm-hmm.
What now? When we watch, we're going to be thinking, oh well, if they lose this game, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They lose, they could still get in.
And one of the most perfect examples was September 7th, Notre Dame against Northern Illinois at home at Notre Dame Stadium in front of touchdown Jesus. Northern Illinois pulled the upset. What happened? Notre Dame runs the table and they get into the playoff and they get all the way to the national championship game.
Yeah, it was that was so that's my biggest complaint, and that was my biggest complaint about the playoff. Mm-hmm. It's not about how many teams are in. It's how you select these teams and make it so the regular season matters.
So
if you ruin the regular season, you're going to ruin college football.
So I'll borrow a question from you, and you did this when we started breaking down the playoff matchups. What are we doing here? I'll borrow that question from you.
I was asking the whole thing, and like we
you
said,
were asking that the whole season when the schedule came out.
Bowl season was always a fun time.
Yeah,
and this season it just seemed like all of a sudden you were like, oh, there's a bowl game on. Like there was no preparation. There was no hey, we got a bowl game tonight. Like they were never breaking down who's going to play in the Outback.com bowl. Like they used to break this stuff down. They didn't even break them down this year. They were just like, oh, here's the playoff teams. By the way, there's another game on tonight.
They were all about the playoff. They gave no luster to the bowl games whatsoever. ESPN didn't do it. CBS didn't do it. Nothing.
Nobody.
Nothing. It was all about the playoff and nothing else. Not even the bowl game or the venue where it was played was put on the back burner. It was all about which teams are in the playoff. We don't care where they're playing. When's the next one? That's all they were about this year.
But I did see one. I did see one thing, and I have to ask you because you went to sports. You did sports journalism at Northwestern, right?
I did.
So I got to ask you about journalism. I got to ask. I took one journalism class, and It wasn't real. It wasn't real for me. It was an elective, so I just
I studied at Chicago State. I studied at NU. I know the voice of the Wildcats and Dave Ennett. He's taught me so much, and Bill Baker for Northern Illinois.
But I gotta ask you about. Do they teach this stuff in class? Do they teach sports journalists state the obvious and make it sound amazing? Listen to this headline I saw. Listen to this headline I saw about the college football playoff. This was in USA Today.
Let's hear it.
I could not imagine this. This is the headline. College football playoff, a success. More people watched college football playoff games this year than any other year.
Get the out of here with that.
Yeah, and I looked at the headline and I was like, yeah, no doubt. There were 11 playoff games.
Exactly.
There were 3 last year. There were 3 playoff games last year. You had 11. Of course, more people watched. What are we doing?
Okay, like you said, what the hell are we doing here?
I was like,
you've been asking, and I praise you so much for this. And make it and sensationalize it. I was not taught that at all.
Okay, because it happens all the time, and I'm like, I always look at these, and I'm like, do you realize this makes you look? And I'm gonna use this word. I don't mean mentally challenged. I mean it the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
It makes them look retarded.
Yeah,
it is so dumb. Yes, of course, more people watched. There were 11 games. More people are going to watch.
Well, think about it. Sensationalizing the obvious is journalism. They call it journalism. I don't.
It just, but I was like, that's what you're using to call this a success.
That's what you're doing to hype it up for next year.
If you want to call that a success, I don't know what to tell you. But like I said, first year, we got there were great things in it. We saw a lot of different style teams in. We had upsets.
Mm-hmm.
That's always good. We had a team that was, both teams played in the first round.
And
both teams that made it to the national championship played in the first round. So we look at that and we say, all right, there's some success there.
Yeah.
The negatives, it's pretty easy to fix. Change up the schedule, make the playoff games quicker, and not quicker in length. I mean quicker and don't give us a 20-day period and a 10-day period. Give us, split that up, and you've got something to work with. You've got a template to work with.
Yeah.
So I think if they can shore those things up, it might clear a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the essence of college football is regular season.
It is.
And your regular season has to build. It has to build on it. It has to build up to the end. If your regular season, if you do what you did this year, where the regular season is malaise,
mm-hmm.
then nobody's going to care about the playoff.
Right.
You have to be building. You have to be building a crescendo, and you have to get it to where you're the loudest at the end.
Yeah,
that's what has to happen, and that's the problem with this formula that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And another, I mean, we've talked about this all the time. I think the biggest thing would be get rid of the conference championships.
Yep.
Because
they're irrelevant now. A, they're
irrelevant, and B, most people, that's all they care. That's all most people care about. For diehard fans, Georgia's going to go out and say, "We won the SEC." I mean, I know I'm still waiting on Michigan fans. Still waiting on Michigan fans to say, "Yeah, Ohio State, you won a national championship, but did you win the Big Ten?"
Yep.
You know?
Beat us?
That's troll 101. That's troll 101 right there.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan. I haven't seen one Michigan fan say that, and I was like, come on. I was like, that was the first thing I thought when Ohio State won. I was like,
I was
like, you gotta hit him
for it. I was waiting for it, man. All right, we're up against we're up against the break. That's Chris Dietz. Totally Dietz is back. Of course, he's going to cover the draft with us. He's going to cover the NFL with us in its off season. And next Thursday, we will break down Super Bowl 59. Dietz, I thank you so much, my man. I appreciate
no problem, and I'll give you extra promo.
All right,
because you know how we cover the Super Bowl on Totally Dietz.
Mm-hmm.
Prop bets. Get your books ready.
Man.
Prop bet. Super Bowl prop bets.
Prop bets. I can't wait for this year's prop bets.
Oh, I can't wait.
You and I have done the prop bets every year since you've been on the program with me, and since you were doing the Fit Down Sports Show. And I put a little cheese on a couple of those bets, and they paid off for me when I was living in Terre Haute, Indiana. So the prop bets are on next week when we break down the Super Bowl on Totally Dietz. Thank you, partner. Appreciate you.
Thank you, brother.
Passionate.
Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
Unflinching.
Let's go back to losing. Parking was easier.
Unrelenting.
They're not going to keep him off the field tonight.
Totally.
This one has a chance.
Dietz.
That's not just a murmur, that's a full-blown fibrillation.
All right, we're just getting rolling here. 5 minutes after the hour, it's halftime. Take a break. When you all come back, I got a little bit of a surprise. So hang tight. Back in a little bit.
This is Snowman in the morning.
Are you ready to upgrade your coffee game? Prepare for an invasion of flavor with Invader Coffee. It's the caffeinated elixir that fuels champions, the blend that pushes boundaries. Whether you're battling deadlines or exploring uncharted territories, Invader Coffee has your back. Join the invasion at invadercoffee.com and taste the difference for yourself. Use the code SNOWMAN for 15% off your first order. Invader Coffee, veteran owned.
One of the great things about ordering meals from Mother of Macros is that you can do it from the comfort of your own home. Click the national or local delivery link to access the menu, and we'll ship the meals right to your door. We understand you won't always have time to plan, shop, prepare, and cook to provide healthy nutrition for your family, so the process is simple and saves you hours. We know you're busy, so our meals are professionally prepared and packaged. You only need to heat them up and enjoy. We provide macro-balanced, delicious meals chock full of fresh, local ingredients with none of the stuff you don't want to eat. Plus, our menu changes every week, keeping your taste buds wanting more. We take care of your meals so you can worry about everything else on your list. Mother of Macros.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the High Five Strangers guy. Game-winning interception. First down. Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
Quinn.
Moment of clarity. I haven't watched BET in years.
KP.
Drake needs to come back with another triple platinum album.
E. Digger.
And then you have Ray J. Like, I can't stand that River Cricket.
The Guru.
Okay, the level of crack she's smoking, I don't want it.
BS3 Network proudly presents the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast. where from card tips to hot topics to meep of the week, anything goes. Live every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Central.
During bad weather, driving can become downright dangerous.
What's your emergency, please?
Trust Battle Vision Storm, the revolutionary glare reduction glasses that turn your sight bright during bad weather at night or during the day. Watch your ordinary vision become extraordinary. Battle Vision Storm uses light optimizing lenses that block blue rays so you see clearly in heavy rain at night or blinding snow during the day. Heavy rain, snow, sleet, or fog can make it impossible to drive. Not with Battle Vision Storm. Get your Battle Vision Storm for only $19.99. But wait, due to rising costs and supply chain shortages, this may be your last chance to get your very own at this low price. There is a strict limit of 4 Battle Vision Storm per order while supplies last. Don't wait, order now.
Call 1-800-483-6319 or visit battlevisionstorm.com. So call 1-800-483-6319 now.
Sports bettors, listen up. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back and in our 30th year of action. With live in-game betting, incredible odds with daily odds boosters, props and parlays, fast payouts, and exceptional one-to-one customer service, we got it all. And when you sign up today and use the code Snowman, you will get a 125% deposit match on your deposit. Log on to BETUS.com or call 800-792-3887. That's 800-79-BET-US. BetUS.com, where the game begins. Attention sports fans, looking for the ultimate gear and apparel to show your team pride? Look no further than Fanatics, the #1 destination for sports enthusiasts. Visit SnowmanMultimediaSports.com today and shop a wide selection of officially licensed merchandise from your favorite teams and players. From jerseys to hats to accessories to collectibles, Fanatics has it all. Don't miss out on the chance to elevate your game day experience. Head over to SnowmanMultimediaSports.com/Fanatics and gear up like a true fan with Fanatics. Officially licensed everything.
It's no secret. Today's consumer wants convenience and likes things on the go. They want to be listened to and receive instant solutions to their queries. This can often make or break the customer service experience. That's why it makes convenient interactions easy for you. Whether your customers want to connect with you via text, Facebook Messenger, Google, Instagram, or website, all messages now come to the one easy-to-use inbox, so you don't have to check a dozen different sites from the platform. From here, you can send SMS or email, answer questions, schedule appointments, take payments, and close more deals simply by messaging back and forth with your customers. When someone searches for a business like yours, they will look at your reviews. So unless you have more positive reviews, they'll choose someone else. Luck makes it easy to collect hundreds or even thousands of reviews from your customers. Simply send a review invitation or create automation that requests customer reviews right after the sale, or maybe right after a service is completed. It will take them 30 seconds or less to leave the review. Now those reviews will show up on the search result and increase your ranking that matters most. Plus, our advanced reporting will show you exactly where your leads are coming from and if your website or ads are doing their job. So why are you waiting? Put your business way in front of your competitors, get more leads, convert more of those leads to paying customers by getting started with today.
Mister? How do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
I start the second hour with 2 words. She's back. And she's here. Alison Moran is with
Brian,
us.
I cannot hear a word.
What?
Let me check something.
My darling, kids.
My darling, there you are. I can hear you now. Okay. Oh boy, technical stuff.
I think that describes our friendship for 13 years. For those of you who don't know, when I first met Allie, she was to call into my show, and the moment she called in, and I was sitting in Starbucks in Chicago, the moment she called in and we started having a conversation, my equipment went dead.
I remember it well.
It went completely dead, and I'm just sitting there looking at my laptop, and I'm going, "What happened?" Well, it turned out the plug came out of my laptop, and at the same time, it came out of my mixer, so I had to replug that in. We got resituated. That's been us for 13 years, man.
Oh, that's right. It's just how it goes. What do you do? You know, it's going to happen no matter what. So we just deal with it as it comes, and we move forward.
It's the 21st century, so expect some kind of technical difficulty somewhere.
Exactly.
There was you wanted to lead with this, and I encourage you to lead with this. There was a very tragic event that happened on the Potomac.
Yes, absolutely. Our hearts are going out today to the members of the U.S. Figure Skating Association who were killed last night. 64 people on an American Eagle flight, now assumed dead as when they were when their flight collided with a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter. Not many names have been released yet, but both the Irish Star and the Boston Figure Skating Club have talked about the people that were unique to this club who have passed away. The Figure Skating Club of Boston lost 6 members of their team, and it was 3 of their skaters, their parents, and 2 something like 2 members of their coaching team who were world champion pair skaters from Russia. And I have their names. I'm going to work on pronouncing them correctly. Vadim Naumov and Jenya Shishkova. There was a young man named Spencer Lane who had received his invitation to this figure skating development camp in association with the U.S. Figure Skating Championships, which had been going on in Kansas. All of these people were on their way from Kansas back to Reagan International Airport. And so finally, Gina Hahn and her mother also died in this plane crash. Let's say they're assumed dead, as this is now a recovery mission and not a rescue mission anymore. The cold weather of the Potomac would not be able to hold these individuals. I'm just shattered by it. This is not the first time either that a plane crash has halted the U.S. Figure Skating Association. Way back in 1961, the entire team and their coaches all crashed in Belgium, and it took until past the 1964 Olympics to get beyond and rebuild. The tragedies of that. There were so many lives lost. And as the U.S. Figure Skating Association said about this is on board that plane was the future of U.S. figure skating.
Mm-hmm.
But for the moment, our hearts go out to them, to the rest of the individuals on the plane, and also to the Black Hawk helicopter and their families.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing now, the families that have suffered the loss.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine losing my family like that.
Nor I. And that has happened. Sorry, dabbing on air, but it's a sad day for U.S. figure skating, and I've been a fan of U.S. figure skating since I was a baby. I have vague recollections of even early on Peggy Fleming, because I saw this woman leaping in the air when I was a baby, and it was like, and I was just going, wow, how did you do that? And from that moment on, I was absolutely hooked on U.S. figure skating and figure skating in general. And it was always a highlight of the Olympics. Mm-hmm. It was a highlight in the off years as well, when they'd have the World Figure Skating Championships. Apparently, the Russian pairs champions, their son was also likely a victim, and he had just placed fourth in the men's competition.
Wow.
Yeah, he was 23.
My youngest, my son, is 26. You want to talk about, and I just found him 7 years ago when I met Jody.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I just met him. When I met Jody, those are my children through marriage.
Yeah.
I already lost one child when I lost Donna in 2015.
I remember that.
Man, you want the worst thing you can take away from a father is his children.
Yes.
The worst thing you can take away from a father is his children. And I've already lost one. I've already lost one child. I've already lost Donna. And y'all know Donna was very, very dear to me for the time that I had her.
Mm-hmm.
And that little, I tell you what, since I'll make people smile and remember the folks in the crash by making people smile, and this is for them for the remainder of the show. Donna had this little squeal about her when we would be watching a basketball game.
Woo.
And I can tell she was born in Indy, and I can tell she was going to be a Pacer fan. Every time we watched the Pacers, she had this little squeal about her. And she'd be so excited, not just to watch the Pacers, but to watch sports with me. Period. She was going to be a daddy sports girl. I already knew it. Cheyenne, my stepdaughter, brought me a 49ers cup, and she looks at me. She says, "Daddy, I'm not into sports that much, but what do you like?" Yeah, I'm a puddle.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm a puddle.
Mm-hmm.
After she says that, Sonia, my other beautiful daughter, did something for me, and she said when we met, I'm not a big sports fan either, but Sonia did something to help me with a project that made me click, because we were working down in Durham, North Carolina, at Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And I was having trouble sorting the small packages. Now, anyone who has gotten a package either before, during, or after Christmas, the smalls are a pain in the ass. The smalls are a pain in the ass, and I was having so much trouble with the small packages. I said, what do I do here? Somehow it clicked to my daughter that I'm a baseball fiend. So she turned and looked at me and she says, Dad, this pile goes over in left field. This pile goes in center field. This pile goes in right field.
Love that. Love that.
We were out of there in 40 minutes.
Oh, love it. Oh.
To the point where my supervisor said, how'd you do that so fast? Hey, my daughter helped me with a baseball analogy. Does she like baseball? She hates sports for the most part.
And yet
she used that to make it click.
I love it. You know, as my dad used to say, and the little child shall lead.
She did there.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Speaking of leading, Caitlin Clark told the NBA, thanks, but no thanks, when it came to the special 3-point shootout. And I love her reasoning, and I plan to be there because she wants to participate in the 3-point shootout in Indianapolis.
Yeah. And at the WNBA All-Star game.
Yep.
And yes, God, I want to be there too. I need a road trip.
I'm gonna try to get you there. I'm gonna try to get my wife and get you to that event because I want to see that in person.
Me too.
I want to watch it here in studio. I want to see it in person.
Exactly. I think that would be fabulous, and I like that. But imagine Caitlin Clark. Look at the offers she has had in the off season. She could have joined the Unrivaled League for $1 million+ dollars. I mean, she could have done the 3-point shootout with Steph Curry. I mean, come on. It's I would say that while Caitlin has earned every bit of rest humanly possible, I mean, I understand why she wouldn't want to. Because the season is going to be grueling on her, especially during a sophomore season is, from what they've told me, has been 20 times as bad as your rookie season.
Yeah, but when you're equipped with a jump shot, you're ready for it.
Yeah, and you got that. But remember that her game isn't perfect either. And she still needs that outside shot consistently. And she needs to have kind of better defense, and the defense needs to be a bit stronger around her as well. And the thing is, by the way, kudos to the Indiana Fever for re-signing Kelsey Mitchell, just like I told him to. It's like, not that I had damn thing.
I was so happy when that news came down that she was going to remain with Indiana. We both thought that she would. We both had that inkling she would, but now she made it official. How big is that for Indiana to have their starting backcourt back in tow?
That is so huge. You can see them go up from number 6 to number 3 seed this year. And that's my guess. And maybe, you never know. If the world connects as it might, I mean, they could be a number 1 seed for all we know. I mean, it's such a jigsaw puzzle right now with the WNBA in the free agency and the off season. It's going to be a remarkable new world out there. And let's see. Let's take a second to remember all these. First of all, the Seattle Storm sending Jewel Lloyd to the Las Vegas Aces, and Kelsey Plum is going to the Los Angeles Sparks, and let's see, the thing is that the Storm are also acquiring the number 2 pick in the 2025 WNBA draft coming up in April. They also got Lee Yuru from the Sparks, as well as Las Vegas's let's see, which one is it? Las Vegas's 2026 first round pick. That's according to ESPN. It was blockbuster. Oh my God. Jewel, as we've talked about, has not been happy with the deals that that the Seattle Storm has left her. She's got a lawsuit still on the books, and so it is going to be a real issue. She can start fresh with a new team. If all is finalized and the Golden State Valkyries don't make a play for her, which is possible still, we will know February 1st. The deal is not official until then. And also because it involves a sign and trade for Kelsey Plum. So you are going to have another day of suspense. And then if it all goes through, then Jewel Lloyd will be a Las Vegas ace. And good for her. God knows Becky Hammon can use her in every way, shape, and form. I think they're a good match. I think that it's going to be a real smart combination out there, because after 2 WNBA championships, the Las Vegas Aces fell from grace last year, and they just were not there. I think there were a lot of issues that were going on internally, and I think that's a huge problem for them. But maybe some of them are repaired now because of this trade. God willing. Yeah.
So with Kelsey Plum being gone from Las Vegas, what's that do for the Aces? Where do they go from there?
They make Jewel Lloyd. They put her in there, and I think one of the things that Jewel brings is as much leadership as Kelsey did, and I really think that they are going to be even a stronger team. With Jewel in the fold. I can definitely see where they're going to have a very feisty and a very aggressive player in that. Not that Kelsey wasn't, she is, but she's going through a hell of a lot right now.
Right.
Got to remember that divorce. She got out of the Unrivaled League to work on herself, and maybe there was some of that happened within season as well, going through that and just being burned out. So I think you're going to see a new burst of fire in the Las Vegas Aces next year.
And of course, it all goes through Asia Wilson as
Absolutely.
well, getting a new teammate. So
exactly,
you got all that to mix in.
I'm really looking forward to that matchup. I think it's going. I mean, can you imagine? It's kind of like Sasha Fierce meeting Sasha Fierce, right? Yes. It's great. I'm so excited about having Asia Wilson and Jewel Lloyd on the same team. I think Becky has her 2 spark plugs right there.
I think she does too. And it's gonna be fun to watch. It's gonna be fun to watch.
May I just say too, welcome home, Sluty. Welcome home. As most
Another piece of big news. Courtney Vandersloot is predicted to come on home to Chicago and re-sign with the Sky this offseason.
It will be a done deal. She left to get another title. She really wanted to have 2 titles under her belt. So she and Allie Quigley, her wife, went off to the New York Liberty. After 2 seasons, they get the title. Now she's back where she belongs.
Yes.
Yeah. The thing that Sluty just brings to the Sky has been incredible leadership on the floor. She's called the general for a reason.
Right.
You know, she will tell people where to go. You know, you can see her, going that way, that way. And she's like an assistant coach, really. And to have her back, and that means that Allie Quigley will be somewhere in there as well, and I don't believe she's playing anymore, but we'll see what happens. But at least she will be back in Wintrust Arena for sure. And the thing is, the combination of the 2 of them is going to be so therapeutic for the Sky that, just having them back in the arena will be such a great deal for them, and just having their presence will make such a difference. But I can see with the coach, he made every attempt. The general manager, Jeff Pagliocca, did, made Courtney Vandersloot a priority to get her back this year. Now, the bad news is Chennedy Carter no longer.
So no more Barbie and Ken show.
No more Barbie and Ken show. I don't like that. I do not think that this was a great move. I know why. The reason being was that she was so closely associated with Coach Spoon. Mm-hmm. She was Teresa Weatherspoon, who was fired, of course, and Tyler Marsh taken over. The problem was that there were a lot of complaints in the locker room about Coach Spoon playing favorites. Mm-hmm. And that caused a disruption. That's, to me, not a great thing. But Chennedy Carter was the leading scorer on that team.
So where does she land? Who takes her on?
That's a good question. She burned some bridges last time she was in the WNBA. Mm-hmm. I'm going to venture that she's going to go perhaps unsigned for a while yet. Yeah. I think what may happen with her is I think let's say that somebody goes down, like a perfect example is Cameron Brink, who went down last year. I could see her coming in as maybe a replacement, for a certain contract. If somebody tears their ACL, goes out of the season, I think it's going to be very hard for her to be in the WNBA. I really think so. Just because, she proved herself But I think there's that taint of her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's that taint of what happened when she was on the Atlanta Dream, where there were disruptions and difficulties and all kinds of things that that didn't fly with the rest of the players. So I really think that she's going to be a hard case to place.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And like you said, she burned a lot of bridges, and we all know how she played when it came to playing against Indiana, which is at the forefront of that profile. You watch the games, I watch the games. That's only what happened between Chicago and Indiana when she was playing there is only the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, where all the flagrant fouls that did and did not get called, you know, all those things that have happened. But I think that she'd be a great pickup for any team that would have her. I think that she will do everything she can to be, you know, humbled. I think it will be very, very interesting to see what happens when she's, when we get closer to the season.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always somebody who's going to take a chance.
Yeah, there
you
is.
know, I just can't think of one right now where she would be a perfect fit, and I can't think of one where it wouldn't be somehow difficult. I will say also, though, on other Sky stuff, they did meet with Dejanay Carrington as well, which would be a very interesting choice.
Oh, yeah.
Playing alongside Camila Cardoso and Angel Reese, I could see that working out pretty good. I don't have a problem with that. Do you?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I could see that. I think what the Sky really needs is one more defender.
Yes. Because there were so many second half of the year, especially after the All-Star break and after the Olympic break, second half of the year, where we talked about Indiana going up, Chicago fell down. Especially their defensive cohesion was just not there, and they ran out of gas trying to get into the playoffs. And a lot of that is because they allowed a lot of buckets underneath. Well, let me just say it real. They allowed teams to cut them to ribbons on the inside with all the backdoor cuts that they gave up and the defensive lapses. That was Chicago's downfall.
Yes, and you know, there's no way that you can really overestimate the value of a strong defender. You know, Stephanie Dolson had that kind of defender position as the center. Camila Cardoso just, you know, she's too young. She was, and also not coached up, I think, properly in that position. And I think that it'll be interesting to see how her sophomore year goes.
Yeah,
because
it'll be interesting.
You know, if they could, if Dejanay could sign, or if they could find one other defender who could really give them the boost that they need.
And like you said, Camila Cardoso is too young, and I hate saying this, but you know how I am. I call it like I see it. You play too small, also.
Yes. Now we don't know yet what Marcia's strategy is going to be.
Right.
And so, I mean, I think of the case of Muggsy Bogues and how that little mighty might. I mean, hell, I was taller than he was, but he could, he found a way to get underlegs, and
Yeah.
you know,
He did. That's how that he used his height to his advantage.
he did, which was amazing. And I remember my mother is 4'8", and I used to say to her, "Mom, look at somebody your size." Look at that. She goes, "I could do that too."
I would tease my mother-in-law so much because my mother-in-law is like what 4'11".
Oh my God.
Picture, and my nephew is 6'4".
Oh my God.
So my nephew was holding my niece, Jordan, and someone took a picture of us.
Mm-hmm.
Me on one side, my nephew on the other side, and my mother-in-law in the middle. And she puts my nephew's hat on, saying, "Hey, I'm tall now." And at the moment, he and I looked at her and went, "No, someone snapped the picture."
Boy, do I love that. It's so great. I had some statistics to move on to another point of the Unrivaled League.
Yeah.
Okay. Unrivaled in their first week averaged 312,000 viewers for its first doubleheader on TNT and True TV. Now, these games set records for women's basketball viewership on these networks. They did fall short of expectations. And remember what we had talked about a little bit earlier. We had talked about how they were focusing, the Unrivaled people, on the ratings instead of the attendance in Miami, where they're going to be for a few weeks. And now even the WNBA's regular season games averaged over 300,000 viewers without Clark.
Right.
It suggests, though, that the debut numbers of Unrivaled may not hold up to long-term scrutiny. And so we'll see. However, there is one interesting bright spot, and that is social media was a very bright spot for them. TikTok content based on Unrivaled, generating 1.75 million views for the first week, which far outpaced the previous engagement with professional women's basketball content. And then, we'll see. Well, the ratings haven't been posted.
Do you think with the Unrivaled League, do you think it's sustainable with what they're offering the different players? Do you think it's sustainable over time?
I think that since they exceeded the numbers of revenue that they expected, I think if they fiscally they're very conservative about it, yes, it could sustain. The other thing that I have a feeling that they absolutely need to do is get Caitlin Clark in there. That will sustain. That will help sustain.
That will blow the ratings up.
Exactly. There's still a
Clark, but I think CC made the smart move in not participating this year because it would have been a horrible case of fatigue.
It would have been, and she probably would have injured herself and not be able to participate at all. I think that what will eventually happen is she's going to get more used to being in this thing, year round, essentially. I believe that that's how Caitlin Clark is going to manage what she's feeling right now. And I think it's smart. Yeah. I think that that what you really need to do with the league is continue to play out the plan And I mean, they're putting up some real nice numbers. They're very, very fun to watch. We watch the games, and I love the 3x3. I love, because it's so fast paced. It's so much fun. I think that it's for right now. I think that anything though that doesn't involve Caitlin Clark is going to suffer by comparison.
It is. It is. She has just been that much of a spearhead for women's basketball.
It's kind of like having Taylor Swift at Kansas City Chiefs games. I'm sorry, the effect is the same.
It is. It is. It makes me laugh when you make that comparison, but it's true.
Yeah,
it's very true. And now they're going to New Orleans. Oh boy, look out.
It's like, and here, actually, Greg and I were watching that game on Sunday, and he and I were on opposite sides. And so I'm rooting for Buffalo, and I'm going, yes, and every time they connected. And I mean, it was a close game.
Oh, it was a classic.
Yep.
It was a classic.
It was, and I was, I didn't feel quite so bad because there was no money involved, but it was funny because we have rarely been on the opposite side of any issue, right? And it's like, and I'm going, I don't really care, but I can be a good loser. And I had picked the Eagles in the other game. And so he just went dead silent. Such a sore loser. But just kidding, honey. But it was a fun time, and
it was funny. It was fun here too because I asked Jody, "All right, who are we picking?" She says, "What's the first game?" I said, "It's the Eagles and the Redskins in Philadelphia for the NFC Championship." And she thought about it for a moment, and she says, "I really want Washington to win, but my head says Philadelphia." I said, get out. I said, get out of my head because I'm thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
And she says, "You already know who I'm picking for the second game." I said, "Of course, you're picking the Chiefs."
Yeah.
And she says, "You're doing that game, right?" I said, "If I don't, Victor will." And she says, "Good. Well, y'all are going to hear me in the bedroom yelling my brains out." I said, "We already are prepared for that."
I love it.
I might, if I can talk her into it, I might have her on with me for the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Oh, great. That'll be so perfect. I love it.
We'll be here in studio, and we'll have food in front of us.
That will be awesome.
Because last year for the Super Bowl, she asked me, what do you want?" I said, "I want the Super Bowl tradition. I want you to make some meatballs." So I'm sitting here getting ready to roll with my pregame show, and she brings me 2 full plates of meatballs.
Oh, she's such a great wife.
I said, "Jody, honey," she says, "Eat. You're going to need the energy." What do you think happened? I fell asleep.
Love it. Love it. I did have one possible scenario that I wanted to bring up. I'm sorry. Is that okay?
Go for it. Go for it.
What would you think of Brittany Griner as the new center on the Chicago Sky?
Do you see this look on my face?
You're kidding, Alison.
How long have you known me now? How long have we been friends? You see this look on my face? You know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Why would you trust? And this is nothing against Brittany Griner, but why would you trust Brittany Griner in the pivot when you got a young player in Camila Cardoso who's ready to take over? You just have to turn her loose. And that was one of the problems with Spoon's coaching.
Mm-hmm.
The inconsistent way she would turn Camila Cardoso loose.
True. The one thing that I was thinking was Griner is testing the market this year. She's had offers, but she's always stayed with the Phoenix Mercury.
Right.
And she's always stayed with them, but now she kind of wants a different scenario. And so the thought is that Brittany has so many years of experience, and I don't think that she would be in such a bad position to advise, consent, and maybe sit out for a while, because she's been the number one center all these years, and I think that maybe this would give her a chance to mentor a young player.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you can't beat her statistics.
No, you can't.
And it would give, Camilla could still be number one.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Brittany would like that player advisor role.
Yeah.
Because she's 35 now, something like that.
35.
And so, time's a marching on here.
Mm-hmm.
And if she could be a mentor to Camilla and anybody else on that depth chart that they consider, Camilla is going to need to have a little break every now and again.
Yep.
I don't know if Brittany wants to lead anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Why would she want out of a rather cushy position in Phoenix?
Yep.
Yep. But just the fact that she is interested in this possibility, I think, who better a project, so to speak, than Camila Cardoso. She's going to be an all-star one of these days. She is going to be a very effective center, but it's going to take time.
It is.
And also some wisdom. And who better to give that wisdom than one of the best centers of all time
that ever did it? Absolutely.
Yes.
One more note before we get out of here. Something about women's wrestling becoming a sport now.
It is now a championship sport, according to the NCAA. This is going to be really fun because it has not been. They have not had a championship in the NCAA before for women's wrestling. Right. And I believe it was early in January that the NCAA met. And so it could show up on ESPN The Ocho. That's the new one. And since ESPN has owned the rights to NCAAs, they can actually do that. And as our friend pointed out a few weeks ago, the women's wrestling is the number one growth sport in the nation. Something I wouldn't have expected to say 20 years ago.
No, I wouldn't. I would not have expected it either. As long as I've been following and covering women's sports, I would not have expected to say that either.
Yes.
But I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see how it develops, how it continues to grow. And I'm waiting. I can't wait for next year for women's baseball to come in.
Yes. Yes, I am so looking for. We got to have Justine Siegel on when that happens. Let me just say that the first NCAA Women's Wrestling Championship will take place in 2026.
Okay.
Yeah. And it makes it 30 years after the University of Minnesota Morris sponsored the first women's wrestling program.
Mm-hmm.
So
And they ought to
going,
have
baby.
it at a wrestling cathedral.
Yes.
Hawkeye Arena in Iowa City.
Yes.
And has been known for wrestling. They should have the first championship in Iowa City.
They should. That is the Mecca for. Yep. Starting, my memory goes back to the 70s when that program started becoming a reality. So this is all good news. May nothing happen to impede, shall we say?
Yes.
Impede the progress of women's sports.
Yeah, better not impede the progress. I'll have a lot to say about it if it does.
We both will. We will go to Washington.
You better believe we will. You better believe we will. All right, we got to get the heck up out of here. But Alison, my dear, thank you, and thank you so much for coming on. Always a pleasure, always an honor. I'll see you next week.
All right. Have a great week.
Tomorrow, David St. Dennis, a.k.a. David 3000, will join us, and we're going to have a little bit of an extended show. Till then, have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move, and always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, they are simply not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. We are, and we hope you all are too. God bless you, and so long, everybody.